Can you win a science victory in Civilization 6 without any science? To make the challenge even harder, I'll be playing on deity with one simple rule: no researching technologies. I'm playing as Babylon, who gets free techs when he secures a Eureka, which helps early on, but keep in mind the later techs don't actually have Eurekas. I spawn into a start blessed by Sid Meier himself and begin exploring our new home. Finding a sea so devoid of life, my people start worshipping it. But the rate of exploration is too slow for my liking, so I send Imani on a world tour for her new album, Give Me All Your Maps. I meet SpongeBob in the southwest before making contact with an ancient village of scouts that joined my empire without my consent. This abomination was so heinous Mr. Squarepants couldn't turn the other cheek and called me a creative variety of racial slurs. I decide the only way I'll be able to stop her inevitable advanced medieval-era units rush with nothing but slingers and warriors is through godly intervention, and get started on a holy site. This holy site will double as an aid to what was going to be a cultural victory, which is why you'll see me build cultural buildings throughout the game. But whether it be science, culture, religious, heck, a dance battle victory, there is one inevitable truth along with death, taxes, and Yadwiga Rule 34 addiction. Mining is crucial for any victory type, and this is where I ran into a problem. The only way I'll be able to do anything this game is by researching mining to eventually secure industrial sectors, but mining has no Eureka, and the game would be impossible without it. So I decided to break the rules just this once and research mining. If this transgression rightfully enrages you, denounce me in the comments and I'll do this challenge again without that crutch. Also, while you're at it, let me know any other challenges you want me to do. I'd say I was rightfully punished for my blasphemy in this game, however, as I have to deal with numerous barbs near my city, as well as a few down south who are subscribed to the belief of if there is a hole, there is a goal. And this slinger right here is the random fan Brazil had in net in the 2014 World Cup against Germany. To stop them and potentially Georgia from playing the cup song on my cheeks, I secure archery for early defense and plot out a monstrous empire just in case I have to use the Russian strategy of more bodies than they have bullets. I decide to pray just in case, building a holy shrine for the job, and with my holy site secured, and from what I can see, my being the only people who are not euphoric with a stained fedora and weapons-grade BMI, I secure Divine Spark, essentially guaranteeing a religion without having to waste production on holy site prayers. This excess production was put into more units, which I used to explore and meet Chandragupta, and while I gawk at his silky smooth hair only bested by his mustache, I'm too starstruck to hide my scout as him and his entourage proceed to revoke my human rights. Rightfully so. While that use of military units can be qualified as a critical failure on all fronts, they do prove useful in destroying an encampment which unlocks the key for this game, Palgums. The developer on methamphetamines who gave Babylon its unique ability didn't receive an intervention for their drug use until after breaking the rest of Hamudaddy's abilities, and with Palgums, I essentially guarantee my population eclipsing 15 in most cities with all the extra food and boost in production. The exploration with my units continues, meeting a retirement home resident cosplaying Cinderella, and it may be relevant to admit that one of the opposing leaders is a Michelangelo sketch without the genitals. A sad day for gooners, I know, but on a more important note, after all that mapping and exploring, I need to settle this newfound territory after exterminating its native inhabitants. Early Empire and Magnus's provision prove useful for the job, as I am now in a position to manifest my destiny, showing my current technological progress, before France leaves me watching like a political streamer in a hotel chair for a few turns. While that conflict is ongoing, my great profit points reach the threshold, as I choose a relevant name and beliefs that boost my culture before settling my second city. All this faith from my religion proves useful in the classical era. With my ensuing golden age, I am able to begin faith-buying settlers, thus speeding up the manifesting. With all the new cities and eventual buildings they will construct, I send money to Ayutthaya for the culture from building buildings. Building. With every popular religion, you need a secret cult. And for my secret cult, I am going Void Singers for that thick, juicy, fat with a P faith to all other yields bonus, my goodness. A quick warning to anyone practicing celibacy, I'd click off the video now if I were you. The rest of the era was uneventful. I go Classical Republic for the economic slot, settle my daily dose of Petra, and Chandragupta tells my people to take a shower. My city settling is going well, until France starts Frenching, limiting my potential manifesting to this side of the mountain range, until the white flag gets invented. The manifesting is only slightly slowed down, as with Ancestral Hall, all my cities start with a free builder, which helps my economic development, only needing to buy builders in my first few cities, leaving the faith to buy settlers and to send missionaries. With all this culture, all that's missing for a culture game is constructing wonders, and with my free builders in my new cities, we get on that sooner rather than later. With all that settling, it was only a matter of time before I meet the last civ led by what looks to be a Muslim cowboy as a problem arises with the last settled location. A barb camp spawned right on top of it, and with my strongest unit being an archer, I am in a worse scenario than Vaporeon at a furry convention. I distract my people from this conundrum with the bread and circuses a coliseum provides as I think up a plan, telling a Euthia that the barb camp is actually a secret Taylor Swift AI porn factory, galvanizing the genetic defects of their city, otherwise known as Swifties, to deal with the camp themselves, limiting both their numbers as well as destroying the barb encampment, a win for all relevant parties, ending off the classical era. With the medieval era, I use my faith output to help in other yields and realize Ethiopia isn't taking no for an answer, sending Reddit's strongest Avenger who barely wins against the missionary. Speaking of unholy, millennia has passed since my transgressions, as most of my neighbors are willing to forgive the scout sinned upon me aside from Mr. Squarepants. While mulling over how her jawline could split my empire in half, I need to make sure all my people are united under one religion just in case. Telling my apostle he will definitely enter heaven if he kills himself and leaves the will of his belongings to the state. This boost in tourism, as well as another from getting the Colosseum, galvanizes me to spend more faith on a potential martyr apostle, but instead get a debater promotion. With this new technique of talking fast to confuse inexperienced college students, I am able to obliterate any and all challengers to the science ? Religion. Theocracy aids in my inquisition, as I have done quite a number on the tech tree despite mostly not researching any techs. With my last city settled, I sit back and build culture while watching my culture score go up. Aided through my evangelizations and extra beliefs, I am able to continue raising all my yields through faith from my secret society, even taking the culture lead early on in the game. This boost is only extended after building my state-mandated Petra, turning Malcolm into a Magnum better than even my capital. I should have waited a few turns, however, as I get the Apadana a little later, but nonetheless begin my city-state vassal swarm, which may come in handy in case SpongeBob wants to turn my insides into outsides. Tamar calls me a rap ad-lib, which doesn't necessarily inspire confidence, but she would have to have scored a strong 4 on the IQ scale to declare war on me with Chandragupta, a dishonored main character, and every city-state on my side. With all these wonders, the ensuing golden age gives me another opportunity to spend faith to buy builders, as my city-state tab is filling out quite nicely at this point from the aforementioned wonders. My wondrous exploits allow me to secure an early industrialization, which gives me the production needed to sweep the rest of the cultural wonders, especially with my abundance of coal. But with my tourism bar not fit for the magnum of Malgum, I need to artificially increase that number. Enter Saint Michelle and the ensuing suicidal bonus to all apostles. And after building it, I was able to skyrocket my numbers, which would be even stronger if we built Christ the T-Poser. But whether we can will be answered if we survive the barbarian invasion. With an advanced military structured command in my handicap this game, it would be more appropriate to call us the barbarians in this instance. This will be imperative to defeat, as 2 shots in my magnum gets a dong reduction that would make the tick TikTok plastic surgeon squirm. To avoid the fate worse than death, I buy a great admiral providing an ironclad and the steel technology giving urban defenses to all my cities. With all my wonders built, I enter the industrial age in a golden age and the democracy civic. With my monstrous culture numbers and advanced society, I was able to add in 8 government slots before turn 200 giving computers. And with that 25% buff to tourism and all my broadcast stations, I was able to continue my magnuming of the cultural scale. Unfortunately, SpongeBob heard I didn't really like Krabby Patties, and it being before the Geneva Conventions, their advanced cuirassiers, and military strength, along with my complete lack of a military up to this stage, it was evident she was about to play hot cross buns with my bumhole. Even my T-poser does little to scare Tamar's knights into submission, but the fact relics give their full tourism output is a nice buff nonetheless. I am eventually able to concoct a brilliant plan to counteract her war efforts, one that has a 0% fail rate, and essentially guarantees victory no matter what she decides to do. I decide to ignore her completely. Sorry, what was that? Why do you want me to look up Trotsky? Ignoring my cities being the pufferfish to Tamar's dolphins, I'm not going for a domination victory. I want culture and send my bevy of rock bands, hoping at least one can become a superstar and give 20k tourism per concert, which the Eiffel Tower helps greatly with. After my rock bands prove themselves more Nickelodeon sans Ariana Grande than Disney in that regard, I take that as an omen, hoping to end our war with the Krusty Krab at any cost. But she refuses to budge even after telling her I've discovered a way to make rockets go really fast into space. And with our districts being pillaged, I am in a worse position than an Instagram model in Dubai, with my city attacks doing little more than giving a kick to her units. Until I realize I got the Eureka for flight ages ago, buying oil from foreign markets and constructing some biplanes, unlocking more advanced fighters, which answers the age-old question of who would win between a Lancer and an F-35. With my swiping of her strap-on, she is forced to concede her nation's economy before I turn her empire into a footnote. But with most of the technologies in the tech tree researched, Sponge Op on my leash, and my rock bands playing with all the skills of Loaded Diaper, I realize a culture victory may not be in the cards and think to myself, why not just gun for science? But this begs the question, how do I get Eurekas for un-Eurekable technologies? Especially since most of the great scientists that could help are for the most part gone. The answer? KGB. Not only are these assets great for cracking down on dissidents and freedom of speech and whatnot, but they are also adept at stealing the secrets of other nations. By using these spies, I am able to secure a free technology every 2 or so turns, but there is a problem. The tech you get is random, and with my ignoring Eurekas for the most part, I spend the next 30 or so turns doing my best to get every Eureka on the tech tree. The only problem is the fact Ethiopia threatens any potential informants with a bare-ass spanking, which causes them to rat out my spies, giving me only one that is able to get technologists and actually steal technologies. I rectify this by securing cultural hegemony, allowing me to choose from any spy promotions. And before you know it, I have an army of 5 spies granting me techs in 3 turns or less each. Clint East Wahhabi isn't too pleased at his science gains being exploited, but what can he even do? He's blocked off from attacking me by a mountain range, and with my next-gen stealth fighters, no one would be dumb enough to send a Napoleonic army to stop, while scratching the masochism itch again, are we, Tamar? After burning her redcoats with illegal skin-melting phosphorus bombs, I steal the last tech needed, smart materials. But uh-oh, Chandragupta and Mr. Wahhabi are closing in, and with my being distracted by Tamar, will I have enough production to finish my space exploration? Maybe, as me and Gupta finish our exoplanet expeditions at the same turn. So how do we get the edge and edge him out in the space race? Well, secretly before the space race even started, I built not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 spaceports. And with all this coal, I was able to build the boosters much faster than India through my incessant factory production, eventually winning a turn 270 science victory without the science. Mostly. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed and to not miss out on future content, while also letting me know what other testicular torquing challenges you want me to do. And I'll see you all next time. Peace.